Welcome to a detailed opinion video on MS Dhoni. I think this movie was very inspiring and very motivating. When I say that, I just don't say it from cricket perspective. I say that for anyone who has a dream and really wants to achieve something big. I was also skeptical because Dhoni's cricketing career did not have many steep failure or things like that where he had to bounce back. So I was wondering how they're going to make this movie. And I also had a thought that this is still going to be something more about what Dhoni is and what he went through before becoming an established cricketer. So yes, I was right in that part, but then I did not have an insight as how much of difficulties and how much of problems he had to face and how much of hardship that he had to face before being where he is right now. So I think that in that aspect, this movie is really inspiring for anyone who really dreams big. And I really felt Sushant Singh Rajput rocks. This guy, I was very skeptical because he did not look anything like Dhoni. I was wondering how he's going to pull it off. But then yes, I did see a few videos before watching the movie and I was kind of impressed by how much he had to take in and how much he worked on everything. Basically his hairstyle, his body language, his mannerisms, the way he talks, the way he laughs, the way he talks English, the way he talks Hindi to some extent. So it rocked. I also think the CGI was good. But then it was equally bad in certain places. But I think CGI plays a huge role in this movie because a lot of scenes that we've seen in real life, they had to recreate those scenes with Dhoni, but then as Sushant Singh Rajput playing it. So I think that was a commendable job. Most of the places it did work out right. This movie talks about for you to be wherever you are today. It's not only you that counts, it's also what you're surrounded with. It can be your environment. When I talk about environment, just not physical, your social environment, your family, what kind of support you get, what kind of taunts you receive, what kind of criticisms you face. Everything makes you what you are. And all those impact you in one way or the other. It could be positive or negative. And I think by watching this movie, if I can believe everything that was there on screen, I think Dhoni has one of the best friends that anyone could ever have. I think all of them, including his mum and sister, actually contributed and are equally responsible for wherever he is today. There were a few scenes that literally shook me apart, and one particular scene was when he gets his first kit bag. He runs to his friend and he says, "I got the kit bag." I think that was the most beautiful scene for me in this movie. And when I talk about beautiful scenes, there are scenes that actually give you goosebumps, and it's not only towards the end, it's not that sort of a movie. I think you get goosebumps equally in distributed places in this movie. It's a long movie, so it does need certain elements like this because you don't have clear Bollywood style story that's going on because it's more of a biopic and not an entertainer. But obviously, since it involves cricket and it involves a lot of family related issues that most of us face today, it somehow ends up to be entertaining for a few, but we all know this is a worldwide release. So I think the goosebump factors actually add up to the engagement level of this movie. His love life, I need to talk about this. It's something that really moved me. I already said this in my short version of this video. It completely moved me. It was something that I didn't expect. I don't know how many of you all expected that it's going to be like this, but then for me it was a complete surprise element and it just took me away. I had no idea that was coming my way. Because I have been following cricket and whatever they showed, you could kind of relate back to those moments and say, oh damn, this is why this all happened, and you try to relate to the news reports and things like that. So it's kind of this reliving those moments, right? And for most of us, being Indian, cricket is a huge thing. We do follow the news every day. We follow what's going on, and most of those big moments that they showed, I'm sure most of us will be able to relate to it. It kind of still moves me because it feels like even though I have not interacted with Dhoni, we haven't met in person, I haven't shook hands with him, nor have I had a coffee chat with him, it still feels like I know him as a friend right now, and I can say, probably whenever I meet him in future, I would say, bro, I know what you went through. I think that's what this movie's done, and I think that's what the intent is as well. When you talk about what are the downsides of the movie, yes, I already mentioned the patchy work with CGI in a few places. Apart from that, I think the movie is 3 hours 15 minutes long, and I think people who are not a fan of Dhoni and who are not a fan of cricket, pure cinema lovers, I think they might find this movie a bit draggy because they might just not have that that factor that's driving you to watch this movie. The other thing I felt technically not up to the mark was subtitles, because a movie like this, when it's especially about someone like Dhoni, it's going to reach international audience because it's purely because of the name he's made for himself and the kind of fans he has across the globe. So I think subtitles should have been given more importance than what it has, because I don't think it was up to the mark at all. And the subtitlist should have considered that this movie is going on the western side of the world as well. So there was one place where they tried to say he played the Ranji Trophy, and the subtitles said he played for Ranji. Ranji is not a team; it's a championship on its own. So it's just like World Cup. So you don't play for World Cup; you play the World Cup championship. I think if a little more care was given, this could have been taken care of. There are a few other blunders that I could notice visibly. So the other was in one particular scene they ask you to try and cut meat, and then someone says cut the pieces. You cut into pieces, you don't cut the pieces. Yeah, you can technically cut a piece into a smaller piece, but then you say cut into pieces or cut into smaller pieces and things like that. Basically, anyone who knows the sport, you don't go and tell them bowl on the feet, especially when two cricketers are talking to each other. You don't say bowl on the feet, you say bowler yorker. So even though in Hindi it is bowl on the feet, you don't say that in English. You just say bowl, try a yorker or bowl a yorker. I think these kind of mistakes could have been avoided, and there were many other places where subtitles could have really been better. I'm just pointing out the most obvious ones and the ones that I noticed. Apart from that, I think it was fine because I looked at this more as a biopic rather than a movie. I was carried away by what they were trying to tell us and not how they did it. So that's my opinion on Dhoni. I think it really inspires me, and it really reassures that if you believe in your passion and if you work towards it and if you have the right ones helping you, there's nothing that can stop you. With this, I'm all the more excited for Sachin, and obviously it gives a chance to other cricketers and other people, like for example Virat Kohli, to actually build his story and what he wants to show on screen, because I'm sure there would be a movie on him sooner or later. So it's been great meeting you all after a long time. So let's meet on my next video. Thank you so much.